In this video, I will be speaking on triggering things that have happened in my life, so please view this video with discretion. My life events and outcomes are not necessary in order to achieve self-growth and appreciation. Hey guys, it's Kerry, and in today's video, I'm going to read a letter that I wrote to talk about how I've grown to love myself. This letter is addressed to myself back in the summer of 2017 when I was about to start my senior year of college. I did a video like this about 3.5 years ago, but don't bother going to look for it because it is now private. I made the video after my first heartbreak and thought posting the video would prove to myself and others that I was over a very toxic relationship. I thought that video would be closing the door, but I realized that's not how healing works for me. This video isn't to prove anything to anyone. Over the last few years, I have overcome a lot more than I can give myself credit for. Looking back, I know it all had to happen because of what I had been praying for so long, which was to love myself. I've been wanting to use my platform and create this video for about a year now, so here it is, my story. Dear Kerry, you just made a video on how hurt you were from a past relationship. You put out this video hoping to encourage yourself or others on what you thought the other side of a manipulative relationship looked like. But you weren't on the other side, and this was only the beginning of a long journey about learning to love yourself. I'm here to tell you that it gets better. So much better. Self-love is greater than any other feeling you've ever felt and will open so many doors to new and exciting opportunities. But before I tell you how great it gets, I want you to know that it does get worse. Over the next year, you get caught in this loop of allowing people in your life that will manipulate you. You will caretake and want to please the people that you are closest to. You will feel alone and cling to relationships that are not what you deserve. You post on social media to make it seem like everything is perfect. You just want to feel accepted because you haven't figured out how to accept yourself. Senior year begins. Your classes are nutrition focused and difficult, but interesting. It feels like you're able to maintain a good balance between school, work, running, YouTube, and living in the moment. But part of living in the moment means you will be taking care of people other than yourself. Instead of going to Saturday afternoon football games, you'll be trying to coax your blackout friend away from the bar or searching around town trying to figure out where she drunkenly ran off to. Although you feel over the hump with an old relationship, you still have manipulative friends in your life. You continue to ignore red flags, and it all builds up to an experience that will change your life. In December of your senior year, you will be sexually assaulted. People like to picture being sexually assaulted or raped as a drunken mix-up or a random guy at a party. In my scenario, it was a guy that I considered a friend. But how could a friend do that? With the support of close friends and family members, you find the strength to spend the day before Christmas break bouncing to different police stations and swearing in front of a magistrate about your experience. For the upcoming weeks and even months, your mind will not really know how to process what all had happened. You will feel disgusted, invalidated, weak, like your voice and the word no did not have as much meaning as you once thought it did. You feel numb. You've always prided yourself on coming off as strong, but you will feel that this experience redefines that. You can vividly replay the experience in your head and don't understand why you didn't do more, as if no was not enough. Much of your last semester of undergrad will become a blur. You will be mentally checked out of school. You're going to feel that bringing it up is accepting defeat. You don't want to tell your professors or coach because you don't want this to be an excuse. Telling coach was easier than you thought. You try to pretend like it's not a big deal or it hasn't affected you, and he sees right through that. You will go to court and have to tell the story in front of a judge, a district attorney, him, and his lawyer. His lawyer will question you and try to spin your story into you wanting it or instigating the situation. With your mom and best friend by your side, you're able to sit through it all. Even him saying he would still want to be friends after this. There was no winning or losing in this situation. You just wanted him to know that what he did was not okay and that your voice needed to be heard. You graduate from college and end up finishing your final track season with average times. Regardless, you still held your head high as you completed your last semester and season. But what are you going to do now that you're graduated? One of your classmates will introduce you to a nutrition graduate program, and being accepted into this will feel like the key to a new life. A life where you won't have to be reminded about him or other manipulative people in your past. To close out undergrad, you finish out your summer internship and spend some of the best weeks of your life surrounded by your best friend, the beach, and daily runs. After a month of R&R, you move into a townhome with 2 strangers in a new city. You get a job to pay for your bills, rent, and you purchase your first car. Graduate school begins and your energy is used for self-reflection and improvement. Over the next 2 years in Raleigh, there will be breakdowns and nightmares, trust and confidence issues, but at the end of each day, you have your loving family, your friends and roommates who are both goofy and intelligent, and most importantly, you have yourself. Some things I've learned that will help you along the way: using music as a coping skill, beginning to work at a behavioral health center, taking control of your life, and pushing yourself to be emotionally vulnerable again. I'm not saying that I'm here almost 3 years later, perfect and over what had happened. There are days where I randomly remember and it puts me in a rut. It prevents me from being the best me. Every time I go back to Boone, my favorite place in the world, I have a knot in my throat because there are always small reminders. Last year I went to Boone for my birthday, and there he was, once I walked in the bar. Even writing it in this letter makes my chest tight. It was a fear that I had, and it came true. He would look at me across the bar or from the patio, and I tried my best to just enjoy my night, surrounded by people who had came into town just for me. He tried to talk to me when I closed my tab. My friends swooped in and we all left the bar. That was it. And it still makes me feel like I did back in the spring of 2018, disgusted and invalidated. There are also days that I remember, and it empowers me, knowing that I've been through some shit and I'm ready to take on more, that I have been through it and was even face to face with him again, yet I'm on the other side, stronger than I've ever been. When I start my career next year and receive medical benefits, I plan to go to therapy. It's not something that I found normalized until I worked with behavioral health, and I've discovered it is something anyone can benefit from, whether you relate to me or not. Now I'm here, sitting at my desk in an apartment I rent with the most wonderful, understanding, giving man I've ever met in my life. This is important because after everything, you will feel like you can't be loved again. You will feel like damaged goods. But taking everything that has happened to you, reflecting, and reminding yourself that it isn't your fault, even when the little voice in your head tells you otherwise, it will change your perspective on yourself and on life. I made it a point to not date anyone until I could love myself first. I knew it could take years, but I also knew that a relationship worth having would be one where I loved my whole self. I've learned to love myself by not letting myself settle because of what I've been through. By giving myself the time and space to be vulnerable, I have become stronger. I have fallen in love with my quirks and body because it makes me who I am. A strong-willed young woman who has learned to grow from experiences instead of letting them define her. I live in a fantasy kind of life where I love myself, my life, and everyone that is in it because it all serves a purpose. I cut out anyone that was not adding to my life, and I haven't looked back. Life is hard, and not even this letter can prepare you for it, but just know that you're not alone in this. You have more support than you know, and the other side is a life full of optimism and love. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. Love always, Kerry.